Hello everyone, Hazu here with my special guest, Ciipherstatic.
Howdy hey, people of the internet, glad to be here.
We're here to review the Sonic movie 2 together. Should probably go without saying, but I'll say it anyway. Spoiler alert, this video contains spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, then this video is not for you.
You've been warned.
So, we start off with a very funny, amazingly animated opening sequence. Dr. Robotnik is still stuck on the Mushroom Planet, but somehow found enough tech to ping a massive power signal into space. A warp ring opens and 3 weird Star Wars cosplayers show up and get their butts kicked. And then suddenly Knuckles shows up and sees Sonic's quill and he's like, "Where did you get that?" And Eggman is like, "I will show you the way."
We then transition to Seattle, where Sonic is trying to be a hero and stopping a bank robbery, albeit poorly. He endangers countless lives, unintentionally, blows up an entire city block, Sonic Adventure 1 style, and dismantles an entire truck. Okay, that was pretty cool of him. All while trying to be Batman. Ain't that cute? Guess they kept up on Sonic's consistent character trait of causing millions of dollars in property damage.
Sonic gets a stern talking to and probably several lawsuits, and then sends Tom and Maddie off to a wedding in Hawaii, in a cute, silly scene between the 3 of them. Sonic trashes the house, and then Eggman and Knuckles show up. They talk about some magic and family trauma mumbo-jumbo, and then proceed to commit felony assault. But don't worry, Tails commits felony Grand Theft Auto with a police car and saves the day by crashing into Knuckles and kidnapping Sonic.
Knuckles chases them down while Tails fanboys for a minute and explains that Knuckles is searching for the Master Emerald, and thinks that Sonic is the key to finding it. When Knuckles catches up, we can check another one off the crime counter for criminal damage to a vehicle after letting it drop off a cliff when Tails saves Sonic. After they head off, Eggman gets decked out in new drip, Agent Stone gets a glorious moment of screen time, and Knuckles and Eggman establish a partnership to find this ultimate power.
Sonic and Tails find out that Longclaw's planet map contains a message she left for Sonic, claiming Sonic is actually the new guardian of the Master Emerald, and gives him its location. Sonic drags Tails along with him, promising to keep him safe. The two have a funny dance battle bonding scene before reaching the Temple of the Master Emerald.
The temple's door engraving that Tails translates says that long ago, the Echidna tribe forged the 7 Chaos Emeralds to create the Master Emerald, a weapon that could decimate entire armies. The owls took the emerald and hid it so nobody could use its power for evil or conquest. Sonic and Tails retrieve the compass to the emerald before they're stopped by Eggman and Knuckles and do a reenactment of SA1's Ice Cap Zone. Tails gets knocked out and Tom has to punch a guy in the face to open a ring portal for Sonic. It's then revealed that the entire wedding was a setup by the newly established Guardian Union of Nations, and Sonic and Tails are to be carted off by the government.
Rachel steals the show as she suddenly becomes the best part of the movie and goes to kill her ex-fiancé with Maddie. She goes to kill her ex-fiancé while Maddie breaks Sonic and the others out of prison. Rachel makes up with Randall, and Sonic speeds off to the Master Emerald Island on his own to stop Eggman.
Knuckles, Eggman, and Sonic make their way through the temple that is literally just Labyrinth Zone. Knuckles and Sonic throw down Sonic X style, and Eggman betrays Knuckles as we all knew he was going to. Sonic saves Knuckles, Knuckles saves Sonic, and the two reconcile over a brief sand fight and a talk on the beach. Tails swoops in for the save on the tornado, which in this context is technically aircraft hijacking, and they head on back to Green Hill.
Eggman snags his boyfriend Stone and makes them a giant robot to live in. Oh, and to destroy the Earth with. GUN are a bunch of sitting ducks, so it's up to Team Sonic to kick its ass. They eventually get their shit together and infiltrate the robot and get to Eggman, punching the emerald right out of him. Eggman gets the robot back online as Sonic crawls towards the Master Emerald. Tom and Maddie swoop in to save him, and the Master Emerald crumbles, the smaller emeralds tumbling from it. Eggman goes to kill them, but then the day is saved by Super Sonic.
We end the movie with a lovely and heartwarming callback to the first movie, with Sonic playing baseball with his new pals. Finally regards Tom as his dad, and they go off to get ice cream, now that the 3 otherworldly friends have made a power bump pact to protect the Master Emerald and Earth from evil, with the fate of Dr. Eggman left unclear.
Then, in the post-credits scene, GUN discovers that Paramount is exploiting the second most popular character in the Sonic canon, Shadow the Hedgehog. The end. Alright, Sai, tell me your thoughts on Sonic.
Oh, it would be my pleasure. I already love Sonic's characterization in the first movie as a chaotic zoomer, wild child, alien, precious boy, so seeing him develop in this movie was so wonderful. Definitely one of my favorite parts of the movie. We see him learning to take more responsibility and learning not to just jump into situations without regard to others, something he got little to no consequence for in the first movie. Now he's not just protecting himself, but now he's protecting his friends, family, and the whole world. He has a lot more responsibility, and he learns to handle it very well as he bonds with Tails, pushing aside his own fears of water to make up for Tails almost getting killed. For a 2-hour movie, they really made his development feel real. And seeing him finally regard Tom as his dad is so cute! I have been waiting for this moment for 2 years! He's really grown since his first big screen adventure, and I couldn't be happier to see where his development goes next. An absolutely adorable and show-stealing sweetheart, 10 out of 10. Ben Schwartz did an amazing job, especially in the feelsy moments. The emotions in his voice before he goes off to the Emerald Temple is incredible.
Yeah, I think you've said all that needs to be said about Sonic. But I will say, when he was up on that rooftop, I was so disappointed that he didn't say,
"Oh yeah! This is happening!"
Truly a wasted opportunity. At least we got a chili dog shot.
Tails was cute. I'm glad they touched up on his model from the last movie. I will say, I was a little confused for a good chunk of the movie because Tails knows Sonic by name. He knows a little too much about him, actually. He gives exposition way too fast. But eventually, it is revealed that Tails detected Sonic's power surge a few years back and somehow has either hacked in or sent satellites to spy on Sonic and has essentially been watching Sonic like a soap opera this entire time. Alarm bells were going off in my head. Stalker alert, stranger danger.
To be fair, it was probably just comedic exaggeration.
You're probably right. But it's also mentioned that Tails has a village that he just up and left. He was like the outcast of the village despite only being like 10? Sir, where are your parents?
The implication that a young child just up and left with probably no explanation, with no clear indication about if he has parents that would worry, is somewhat horrifying. But it is actually nice that they reference that little detail about Tails' backstory. He's one of the few Sonic characters that really has any indication of one, so it was nice that the writers actually looked into the characters. Good on you, writers! A couple things I'd like to add on. I'd like to say that it's actually really cool how they made Tails and Sonic's dynamic work so well with the 2 hours they were given. It's hard to make a relationship feel that believable with constrained time, but they really made Tails a super likable and absolutely adorable character. And Colleen did such an incredible job. I'm really happy they got Tails' actual voice actor for the movie. And the voice direction was so much better than the Sonic games we've gotten in the last few years. She was really able to stretch her vocal chops and let Tails get emotional. Hopefully future Sonic games will get the hint.
Yep, Sonic really did have to step up to being a big brother in this movie for little Tails. Now, Knuckles is definitely the gullible knucklehead we know, but he's more of a threat than his other depictions in this movie. His power is scary, and frankly, I'm shocked he didn't kill Sonic in their first encounter. It's also kind of fascinating that he's not the guardian of the Master Emerald in this movie. Sonic is. He would have been had Longclaw's people not stolen it, but allegedly the echidnas were using it for war purposes, so the movie's like, oh, it's fine that Longclaw stole this ancient artifact from them. They were using it for evil. Anyway, it's weird that, like, the entire tribe goes to fight one owl and apparently they all die? They all lose to a single owl? Really? None of them come out unscathed? And Knuckles is the last echidna? That's sus. They literally just left Knuckles there, alone? I mean, granted, he's a young warrior of their tribe, but still. No one had, like, laundry to dry that day?
Unlike you.
Ha ha, very funny. Anyway, Knuckles is definitely an alien, so they went with the Starfire route of, I am having the fun, and what are sprinkles? It only happens a few times, but if Knuckles doesn't get a little more comfortable with Earth terms and they start pushing it in the third installment, I worry that this will be like a Teen Titans Go movie levels of Starfire. So please, scriptwriters, don't push Knuckles' lack of Earth term familiarity too much, because it will go from comedic to annoying real quick.
I think it's like a fine spice. A bit here and there is nice, cute even, but can end up making it unpalatable if overused. I absolutely adored Knuckles in this movie. Definitely the best character if I'm being completely unbiased. I do enjoy his talk of honor like he's Prince Zuko, with a bit of Jasper from Steven Universe's lack of social familiarity and constant talk of battle. It's really nice to see Knuckles portrayed as a badass instead of a moron like we've had to put up with the past few years. Idris Elba absolutely nailed Knuckles' perfect balance of serious and comedic. I always get a little wary about celebrity casting in animated movies since they usually just focus on the actor being recognizable and marketable and rather than being an actual, well, good actor. But apparently, Idris actually researched his role and really took care to make sure we got the Knuckles we deserved. And he achieved that with flying colors. His little bit with the victory carriage and groin jokes with Sonic will always get a chuckle out of me every time. And yes, my immature sense of humor will probably never change.
Slight Knuckles tangent here, but I'd like to draw attention to the apparent, prequel comics that Cypher introduced me to. Thanks, Cy.
You're welcome.
In the movie, we mentioned earlier that these cosplayers, these bounty hunter-looking guys, come out of the portal ring before Knuckles does. Kind of like this weird cop-out enemy. In the movie, it is never explained who these people are or why Knuckles was with them. In the comic, apparently these dinguses kidnap him and force him to fight in a tournament against his will. Knuckles wins and gets the money, but instead of leaving and punching the hell out of the guys that kidnapped him, he turns around and, hires them to help him, find Sonic? What? It was the weirdest thing. They kidnap Knuckles. Knuckles hires them. Eggman beats them up in the movie. They are never seen again. Completely unnecessary characters that serve no purpose. I do not understand why they are there.
To be fair, it did work well in the movie to stage Knuckles' entrance, acts as a sort of false sense of sorta security. But in the comics, they probably just needed at least some reason why that setup was there. It worked for what it was, I'd say, but they could have done a bit better with it. Oh well, what happened, so just gotta roll with it, I guess. Anyway, back to your regularly scheduled madness.
I am so happy that Stone was brought back and prominent in this movie. I felt so bad for him. Eggman contacts him and he's all excited and he's like, I brought you your coffee just the way you like it, sir. And Eggman sips it and he's like, could use some mushroom. And Stone's face falls and then he sees Eggman brought home a space porcupine. Stone deserves so much better. That being said, though, when the Sonic Movie Twitter account posted the Valentine's Day coffee mug with Stone and Eggman, I had just about lost my mind. That being said, though, when Stone was just casually scrolling through new outfit designs for Eggman's new debut of his empire, when the fucking maid outfit showed up, I screamed in the theater.
Never let Stone near a Twitter account. The simping will be relentless. When it gets to the point that even my mom, who admittedly is not super in tune with today's youth movies, noticed how much romantic tension there was between Eggman and Agent Stone, that's when you know you accomplished your goal. Stone was a delight. His utter devotion and love of Eggman was both adorable, hilarious, and a little tragic all in one. That scene where he calls out to Eggman asking him to take him with him.
Doctor! Take me with you!
That was one of the highlights of the entire movie. Also loving how they took the coffee joke from the first movie and just absolutely rolled with it with no shame and their full chest. I can respect the hell out of that. Lee Majub, I am so sorry if I said that wrong. Props to you for making one of the best love interests I've seen in a while. I do want to see what they'll do with Stone now that Robotnik's fate is left uncertain. I doubt they'll make him the new Eggman, but I think he'll definitely have a role to play in the future. Until then, though, let the shipping commence!
Yes! As for Eggman, he's far more crazy and far more unhinged than he was in the last movie. I'm kind of surprised but pleased at Stone's faithfulness to the man despite his new space porcupine, lack of hair, while also more hair, and interest in mushrooms. The fact that Robotnik nearly swore with the joke of this piece of shiitake mushroom planet in the first 10 minutes of the movie felt like I just got punched in the solar plexus. Did not see that coming. Took me by surprise for sure. And Eggman actually fusing with the Master Emerald to essentially become, I don't know, Super Eggman? That took me by surprise too. I've never seen Eggman fuse with the emeralds before. That was new. and I like it.
Eggman in the Sonic movies has always been a very interesting take to me. Robotnik in most Sonic media has always had a very cartoony sense of comedy combined with his villainy, even in his darker takes in Sad AM and some of the Archie comics. So to see such an unhinged, actually extremely threatening Eggman in the movies has always been an absolutely welcome total whiplash. I actually got a weird chill with Eggman's slightly more threatening tonal change after he fuses with the Emerald, and I am absolutely here for that shit. Jim Carrey seemed to just be really able to let loose with these movies, especially here in Sonic 2. He really seems like he's having a load of fun with this character. Though I do wonder what they're gonna do with Robotnik after he's presumed dead? But I'll admit, I kinda wanna see them pull an Archie Robo-Robotnik route and maybe have Agent Stone put his mind into an android body. But that's just me.
Great speculation. I know there was talk about Jim Carrey retiring, but if he comes back or leaves, Eggman's fate has been left ambiguous, so whatever is decided for him in the third installment, it will be an easy transition and believable regardless.
Is he dead? Is he an android? You, the viewers, decide! Now, onto the Wachowski family, Donut Lord and Pretzel Lady, aka Tom and Maddie. As a strong Wachowski family stan, I was completely enamored with them. Tom had such a sweet dad vibe, but still has his up to here with everyone's bullshit moments, like when Sonic tries calling him during Rachel's wedding ceremony. He definitely had his time to shine in the first movie, but it's great to see him now giving Sonic a lesson in heroism after Sonic showed him that he has a community that really needs him in the first movie. They really play off each other and bring out the best in one another, and it made me cry with joy in the theater the moment Sonic finally called Tom his dad. Maddie was a show stealer, and really showed how much of a badass she can be after she was sidelined for most of the first movie. I'm so happy we got to see more of the family as a whole instead of just totally focusing on Sonic and Tom. But I think the centralized focus in the first movie made the expansion of the family that much more enjoyable in the second movie. They really make Sonic feel like he has a family again after losing his mother figure Longclaw. It feels like a really believable family with an adoptive alien hedgehog son. James Marsden and Tika Sumpter did wonderfully. These two do not get enough love, and I will say that with my full chest until the day I cease to breathe!
Oh, yes. I laughed so hard. My heart was so warm when Sonic said, "Whoa, terrible shirt alert," and was making jokes with the two of them, pretending he was airport security when sending them off through a ring. That's so endearing.
All I'll say is I'll take Sonic over TSA any day.
In the previous film, the human characters took up a bit too much time that we could have had with Sonic. They felt unnecessary. But in this movie, they became way more important, and frankly, I felt like their moments in the movie, while shorter than the previous film, were probably some of the best parts of the movie this time around. I will say though, while they technically officially adopted Sonic, I don't think they've yet come to terms with the fact that Tails and Knuckles are now a package deal, and they are now a family of 6, including the dog.
I'm glad Sonic found his wingmen to grow up with, but I do hope Tom and Maddie don't have to take in every single friend Sonic brings home. That sounds like a nightmare. And since we have the Knuckles spin-off and possibly more animated shorts in the future, emphasis on possibly, I'd really like to see how their dynamic continues after their big adventure together, from beating up any leftover robots or maybe paying Wade a visit. That'd be fun. On a brief anecdote, since we probably won't talk further about him, Wade was honestly one of the funniest characters in the whole movie. His scene with Agent Stone was comedy gold. Props to you, Adam Pally.
I didn't like Rachel in the previous movie, so I can't believe I'm saying this, but Rachel in Sonic 2? She was the best part of the movie. Going off to kill her ex-fiancé, and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm in love." I was dying. My friends were dying. The entire theater was erupting with laughter. Most iconic scene in Sonic history, I swear. I shockingly didn't see Randall's betrayal or GUN's formation in this movie. I was not expecting that. Still pleased by it nonetheless. Also, shout out to the priest with the gun in his Bible. That guy frickin' killed me.
I remember laughing my ass off whenever Rachel was on screen in the first movie, but she really outdid herself in Sonic 2. Her chaotic bridezilla energy was a delight. The one time she's normal and Randall thinks he's dying when he's the one overreacting absolutely knocked me dead. I know a lot of people think the wedding B-plot and Rachel's shenanigans take up too much time, but I think it honestly worked for what it was. Sonic 2 knew when to be serious and when to go totally nuts. And Rachel during those totally nuts parts went all out and knocked it out of the park. My mom and I laughed like mad every moment she was on screen. It's a nice part of the movie that older viewers can enjoy too. Natasha Rothwell stole the show just as much as Tika Sumpter. Not much to say about Randall considering he was mainly used more as a plot device, but Shamar Moore did very well with his role, especially with that tinge of comedy after he gets tased by the Olive Garden gun commander. I kinda wanna see how the relationship develops as they have a real romance now.
Did not expect the Olive Garden guy to become the GUN commander. He really went from incompetent dork to dangerous and controlling pretty quick. I'm worried what they're gonna do in the third movie for sure.
Yeah, I'm kinda curious if they just abandoned the idea of trying to capture Sonic and friends. Tom and Maddie did prove to the guy that Sonic isn't a threat, so is he just not gonna go after Sonic anymore? What's Gunn gonna do in the future now that Sonic is possibly no longer deemed a government target? Only time will tell, I suppose.
So let's talk about Longclaw and Knuckles' dad, who we're going to call Key, for spiteful purposes you don't need to look into. Allegedly, this new clan of owls has been in a long-standing war conflict with the echidna tribes for their powerful emerald weapon. A weapon they've allegedly used to conquer other lands and people. Echidnas using the emeralds for conquest is nothing new, but the owl tribe stealing it and becoming the new guardians of the Master Emerald was something I did not anticipate. And again, I refuse to believe that Longclaw managed to kill every warrior in Knuckles' tribe by herself. It's not believable to me. I know it's heavily implied that they're all dead, including Longclaw, but they never found the bodies. Just saying.
Honestly, I kinda hope Knuckles actually is the last echidna, because that is a piece of lore that does not need exploring again, for probably obvious reasons. But back to the Owls of Ga'Hoole over here, I do want to address that bit about Longclaw. We don't really know the extent of her own abilities, so she could have held her own. And we only saw a few amount of echidnas during the flashback when Sonic was sent to Earth. Their numbers probably dwindled over the years, so maybe there's less echidnas left than we initially thought. I might just be extending my suspension of disbelief more than I probably should, but I don't think both Longclaw and the rest of the echidnas being wiped out that day is out of the realm of plausibility.
Well, regardless of the fate of the echidna tribe, I am still so relieved and thankful they were even addressed at all in Sonic 2. I was very worried they would never be mentioned again from the first movie.
Here's hoping we get to call someday. I miss her.
Same. Now that we've gone over the characters, I want to address the emerald situation. What the heck happened, guys? The 7 Chaos Emeralds are shoved into one and become the Master Emerald. That's new. Usually the Master Emerald is a separate usurper of the emeralds. But, okay. So, this Master Emerald loses its power and breaks apart, freeing the 7 emeralds. Sonic uses them to become supersonic. After defeating Eggman's robot and summoning a chili dog, Sonic releases the emeralds, and Tails is like, "Why would you give up that power?" And I'm like, why aren't you guys freaking out? Where are the emeralds? Did Sonic just shoot them into space? That's like throwing away all the Infinity Stones, and no one reacted to it? Anyhow, Knuckles goes up to the shattered gray remains, the shell of the Master Emerald, and somehow miraculously fuses them together and they regain their green sheen? And they, never address this. Where are the emeralds? That was just a shell. Is this a new 8th emerald? Is this still the Master Emerald? If Sega says the Master Emerald isn't supposed to have special power like the smaller emeralds that made it, what's its use then? Sega? Writers? Hello?
Honestly, I think they might be able to expand on this in the future. It was the falling action part of the movie, so I don't think they had the time to fully explain that. But if they're going the route I think they're going to go in Sonic 3, they might actually turn it into the usual MacGuffin hunt of finding the 7 emeralds. Or maybe the Master Emerald really is the Purifier Emerald that it was stated to be in the game canon now that it's possibly not fully composed of the Chaos Emeralds. But on a brief note about Supersonic, I know I'm not the only one that legit thought they were actually about to go the motherfucking Fleetway route. I am glad they didn't go that route as much as I adore Fleetway Supersonic, but part of me does wonder how it would have gone if they did go the Fleetway route. Fanfic writers, to your keyboards!
Yeah, honestly, that would have been really cool.
Hey, Cypher here with a brief little anecdote to this. Turns out Tyson Hess has stated that the Master Emerald is its own entity now, and the Chaos Emeralds are separated from it. While that does raise some questions, I'm willing to wait and see what they do with this. I guess it makes a little more sense than keeping the emeralds combined all the time, considering the usual fetch quest status quo from the games. But, we'll see what happens. Back to you, Hezu.
Well, now that we got all that out of the way, time for the simple stuff. Animation was pretty good. They got a hang of the models this time around. I am so grateful they listened to their audience. Overall story was pretty solid. Pacing was real fast in the beginning. I know it's Sonic, so gotta go fast, but we got a lot of exposition really quickly. It was a bit confusing as to how everyone knows Sonic, but Sonic doesn't know them. Everything was a little too convenient. I will say, while we did get a lot of new stuff, like new characters or twists in the lore for the Sonic series, a majority of it was essentially a retelling of Knuckles and Tails' original backstories. Knuckles' team teaming up with nefarious Eggman, Tails teaming up with Sonic. It was unfortunately predictable that way because it's been told before. I'm also kind of frustrated that it appears that my fears may be correct. Tails and Knuckles seem to be able to keep up with Sonic in a few parts of the movie, and Longclaw is like, I've never seen a powers like yours before, Sonic. Meanwhile, Knuckles' eyes glow red, and he also has similar power, but more so towards his fists. In the previous movie, Sonic may have his speed, but he also seems to have an effect on technology as well. His quill powers Eggman's machines, for Pete's sake. His eyes glow blue. I thought this might be a unique power that we haven't explored for Sonic. Eggman has the same power effect when he fuses with the Master Emerald, but for Knuckles and Sonic, they have never come in contact with an emerald before, so I don't understand where their powers come from. I was hoping that would be explained or explored more. Even Tails, a unique two-tailed fox who got bullied in his village, is considered unique and even glows yellow sometimes. Writers, please explain. These are cool powers with possibilities. I want them fleshed out more.
You sure you're not thinking a little too into this?
You sure you're not thinking enough about this?
Anyhow, I gotta give props to Studio Marza for the animation, who you may know from the Night of the Werehog video from back in '08. The models feel really improved, and I'm always a nerd for pretty gemstones in animation. Nicely done. I didn't see anything too off with the pacing, as I think it really builds on hype. It gets you pumped for what happens next. Some of the tonal changes feel a bit off, such as the transitions between the Sonic plot and the Humans plot, but it's pretty easy to recover as you keep watching. The power hype has on a movie in the eye of the beholder. As for the whole powers thing my friend Hezu here discussed in great detail, I think it wasn't really necessary to explain in this specific story. Knuckles seems to be slower than Sonic in terms of running speed, as shown in the scene where he chases Sonic and Tails when they're in the cop car. Most of his power stuff seems to manifest through his strength, and I could believe that Sonic probably slows down to keep up with his friends, or the animators just did it for good image framing. Take your pick. Either way, I don't think this movie in particular needed to address it. But if this whole Sonic cinematic universe thing is happening, maybe we'll get an explanation someday. For now, I can wait for an explanation. Unlike some people.
This is the first origin tale where Sonic might have more powers than just going fast! I'm eager!
Before we get into the final topics of this review, I think it's worth addressing how successful this movie was. Sonic 2 is currently the best-selling video game movie of all time, and was the #1 movie for a while before getting topped by that Dumbledore movie. It even outsold its 2020 predecessor. This movie was so incredibly well received, especially among fans of the Sonic series as a whole. Hopefully this sends a message to Hollywood that this is the way to do video game movies, by making it something the fans can really enjoy and not just the casual moviegoer. Let's hope Mario's and Minecraft's newest film outings learned a thing or two from the blue blur. But now that that's out of the way, it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. Hit it!
I was not expecting Shadow in this movie. I unfortunately got spoiled, so I wasn't as surprised as I would have been in the theater, but whew! Still, wow. Would have never thought he would have shown up in these movies. I'd believe Metal Sonic showing up over Shadow any day, but here we are. I feel so bad for Sonic, man. He's like a teenager that almost got killed several times in movie 2. I hope Sonic 3 isn't just Shadow beating the shit out of Sonic 2.
Bow your heads low, all hail Shadow! I was luckily one of the few that wasn't really spoiled on Shadow, so the moment that the gun commander was informed of a project dating back over 50 years, I gasped. The moment that Hot Topic hot sauce motherfucker showed up on the screen, I and the rest of the theater collectively lost our goddamn motherfucking minds.
Red stripes? Jet boots? Oh my god!
I have never been more pleased with a setup for a movie in all my life. Shadow is my second favorite character in the whole series, so to see the Hedgehog in all his glory has me ascending! I do wonder if maybe he was partially made with DNA of Sonic's species on his world, considering he's also a hedgehog. But now we might have involvement of the Black Arms? Black Doom? Is he gonna ride a motorcycle and shoot the living crap out of aliens again? Duh. The point being, the reveal was executed flawlessly, and I am more than excited to see what happens next. Maybe Rachel's daughter Jojo could be the one who reaches out to him and reminds him of Maria. It's food for thought.
God, I really hope that the gun commander just, as an apology to Shadow for killing Maria and locking him up for 50 years, just takes him to Olive Garden. Why don't you have a breadstick and maybe you'll calm down?
Have a breadstick, Shadow. You're not you when you're hungry.
Well, Cypher, I think it's time for the final verdict then. I'd probably give this movie a 7 or 8 out of 10. Maybe a 7. I don't know. What would you give it?
Honestly, I'd say a 9.5 out of 10. Definitely one of my favorite movies, made me finally like Uptown Funk, full of charm and fun, and has an amazing setup for what's to come. The total whiplash feels a bit weird at times, but it's easily recoverable. Here's to Sonic 3 and the future of our favorite little blue blur. Happy 30th anniversary, Sonic! Here's to 30 more!
We certainly were good cop, bad cop on this review, weren't we? It's interesting to hear the perspective of another when reviewing the movie. Cypher here is a Sonic fan of the new age, the past decade, while I had been a Sonic fan prior to her indoctrination into it. Pre-Sonic Colors era, almost 2 decades. Your insight is valuable, and I appreciate your input in this review with me.
Aw, thank you. I've loved Sonic ever since I was little, and I feel like this series and the fandom deserves a little more optimism. It hurts to see how Sonic hit a hard decline, especially around the time I joined. So I want to spark some hope in people and show how much Sonic means to not just me, but people who've stuck around even after everything. This movie really showed people that Sonic is back on the right track, and I'm hoping with all my heart it continues down this path. What can I say? The little guy means a lot to me.
Well, thank you all so much for joining me and Cypher on our first collab video. Go check her out at ciipherstatic. Links are in the description. Thanks to all my patrons for supporting the making of this video. Look forward to seeing more stuff from us and many others in the near future. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me, Hezu. Catch y'all on the flip side. Up, over, and gone!